So we're gonna pack up these two metal prints today. I made this one and this one. It's a Jeep print and a car print. We had a bunch of others, but these two are done. They have to go out today. So I'm gonna show you kind of just as I do all this. I wanted to touch on something I've been thinking about lately though, that has been really, really noticeable over the past probably month. Very, very beneficial, which is this word of mouth that has been happening with my business and how I think it could probably help you with yours at some point as well. So how do I explain this? About 2 years ago, I started making street signs, and I didn't really know what I was doing. I just had a product. I need to find a ruler. Had a product. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I wanted to start a business online. And so I started doing street signs, sold a lot of those. The product wasn't that great. We did thousands of sales. I mean, I sold thousands of street signs, made them all by myself, and millions and millions and millions of views on social media. It was a really cool year. Whole life changed from that. But something I had always noticed while I was in it was that people weren't coming back. And it wasn't an easy thing to sell. And it was because the product wasn't that good, and it wasn't built in a way that people would want to come back. So I sold them fairly cheap. I raised the prices over time, but they ranged from basically $25 to $50 total, shipping and everything. And when a customer would get them, I think they would see it and be like, well, I spent 35 bucks on it, so whatever, but it's not good enough for me to want to buy another. It certainly isn't good enough for me to want to refer them to somebody else. And I knew that pretty early on. I just didn't really understand the idea of word of mouth, because the idea of word of mouth always seemed to seem very, it seems slow. Like you're kind of impatient when you get started. You want to see things fast. It's hard to stick to something when you know it's going to take a while. And so I didn't focus on it. I wanted to just sell stuff and keep selling and get better over time. And at some point, I kind of got sick of it, because I'm like, I don't want to keep having to sell new customers every month just to keep this thing going. So I wanted to create something a little bit better than that. That's when I got into making these metal prints. I'm like, I want to create a product so good that it could basically promote itself without me doing anything. And I learned this idea from Alex Hormozi in both of his books, $100 Million Offers and $100 Million Leads. And it is this idea of building a product so good that if you never did any other work, it would grow by word of mouth and it would keep you in business. Not only would it keep you in business, it would grow your business, because word of mouth positively compounds. And so, or it either positively compounds or it negatively compounds. And so if you have a bad product, you sell it to one person, that one person might go to 10 other people and say, hey, I bought this, cost me 50 bucks, 100 bucks, and it's 20 bucks, and it sucked. I wouldn't buy it. I will not be buying another. You shouldn't buy it either. So now you sold one person to basically lose 11 in the future. And then those 10 people might go on to tell more people and say, no, well, I heard, Susie said this product sucked, so I would probably stay away from it. So now those 11 turned into 15, 20, 100. And all these people know that your stuff sucks. But if you create a good product, a really good one, if you spend the time on it and make it as good as you possibly can, keep focusing on that, keep pushing it, you can positively compound through word of mouth. What happens is one person buys it, again, Susie buys it, and she loves it. Even if she spent $200 on it, she loves it. She's like, this thing is amazing, totally worth it. She goes and tells one of her friend buys, That friend then goes and tells 2 more people. Those 2 people each tell 2 people. So now it's 4. Now you have this massive compounding effect, and over time, it continues to just grow on itself. And the reason why I think it is so beneficial is because it's not just word of mouth, it's this level of trust that you get through it. And so you sell one person, now you have this connection with them and they trust you, it's been good. But if that person tells their friend, they have a strong connection. So now it's like this triangle where you have a connection with them through the sale, they have a strong connection with a friend, and then that friend now has a connection back to you because you're good with their friend. So it all works in this triangle, but then it expands on itself because the trust just keeps going because they trust each other. And I think a lot of business is all done through trust. If you're going to buy from someone you don't trust, it wouldn't make any sense at all. So if I see someone online and I'm like, well, they've got a great reputation amongst my peers or the people I follow, whatever it is, more likely to buy from them. And this has been very prevalent in my life lately because I would say over the past month, I've done almost just as much word of mouth work as I have done through my website. Maybe not that much, but it's getting up there. And I've only been doing these metal prints for about 6 months where I've been like actually doing them and not shutting down my website or anything to keep making the product better. Like I've been focused on these pretty heavily for the past 6 months now. And the past month after Christmas, especially through December, word of mouth has been crazy. The amount of people this week that have texted me and said that they want metal prints done for their house, for their garage, their shops, anything, their office, has been far more than anything I saw in the first 5 months of doing this overall. And what's happening now is that people are noticing it's a great product and now wanting more of it. They saw, their friend bought it and then they saw it and were like, well, I want one too. Like groups of my friends now, I gave to one friend and then all my other friends saw it and were like, oh, I actually really love that. I want it now. And then their friends are wanting it. And so I'm getting texts from friends of friends wanting stuff made. I had that happen a lot through December for Christmas. And I figured, well, this will probably die out after Christmas. But into the new year, it became even more. And that was because Christmas time, their friends got it. And then that's when they got to see it. And so now the referral, that word of mouth, is now catching up to itself in January. Word of mouth seems like it would take forever, but 6 months is 6 months. That is no time at all. And within a month, I just did like a full 180. It just completely flipped, and now we're doing a ton of word of mouth. Like I almost didn't do anything through word of mouth until December. And now in the past month, it's just been, it seems like every day I'm talking to somebody that wants something made that I know. Like I have someone coming over today who is going to go, we're going to walk through a bunch of different sizes, and he wants to decorate his house with a couple of big prints, probably 5 or 6, he said. That wouldn't have happened if I didn't have a mutual friend referring me saying, yeah, it's great work, you would love this, this would look awesome in your house. And he got to see that stuff. That is word of mouth. That is how that spreads. And now this person, if I do it for him, he's going to tell other people. He's already been telling other people. I watch him do it. He tells me about it, which is awesome. Word of mouth is super, super important and beneficial. You don't have to keep selling yourself all day long if people are doing it for you. And the only way they're going to do that for you is by creating a product so good that it feels like it benefits them almost to talk about you. Like they feel like they gain something by sharing something good with their friends, which they do. It's like share anything good with somebody and you do benefit from that, more just mentally. I hope you guys kind of understand what I'm talking about. I'm speaking out of experience. This isn't me talking, like I didn't just read this and now I'm spewing it to you guys. I am living it now. I'm seeing the effects of it. And I didn't for a long time. The thing that I really focus on more than it, a lot of people talk about, create a product and then market it. Like just sell it like crazy. Push it as hard as you can. But if you can almost look at the product as your marketing, everything else becomes easier. So if you look at it as like, I need this product to sell itself without me doing anything. And if you can create that, then every piece of content you make around it, every ad you run for it, whatever you do, however you work to sell it becomes so much easier because it's already selling itself no matter what you do. And I think this applies to any business because I have a lot of friends who are in the excavation, concrete, all that stuff. And there's always those guys that are just a little bit better. They focus more on quality, whatever it is. They show up on time. They get the job done a little bit faster or at least on time. And they're the ones people choose. Like they are the ones that do better. They don't have to keep promoting themselves all over the Facebook groups and all the other things you see people do. They just have calls coming in all the time because they've done so good that they spread by word of mouth, and all these, these companies that they maybe contract through or whatever are just they're promoting for them. And I can't really speak on other businesses because I only know this and I don't know that much in general. I can only speak on what I have learned. But again, like creating a good product has completely changed everything for my life because you sell more product, you can sell it at a higher price, you have a higher average order value, and you have more customers that keep coming back every month. So basically the business just doesn't stop growing, and it does that on its own, and then on top of that, you push it yourself. It's like a win-win. Now the other thing is like the idea that my product is the best in the world and it cannot be better sounds like a death sentence. Like that is not true at all. There's much to improve on always, and I certainly have lots of room to grow and things to work on and things to make better with the product and the service and all of that. But if the general direction can just be keep making the product better, everything else seems to kind of fall into place when you do that. And so that's why every time I think about like, I need to promote this more, I kind of revert back to make the product better. Keep making the product better so that you can increase the ratio of customers who buy to customers who keep coming back. Because when you can maximize that number and then put advertising behind that, you have this massive growth. And I think that comes later on though. Like that doesn't happen in the first 6 months. That happens years in. Plus I wouldn't want to take on too much work anyways right now, as I wouldn't be able to handle it. And then again, things would suffer because orders would take longer to get and they may not be as good because I'm not putting as much time into one as I should be. And so then that whole experience starts to fall again and the product is not as good as people thought it was. And their expectations are also one of the biggest factors. So if they're expecting it to be phenomenal and it comes back good, that's not a good thing. If they're expecting it to be good and they get it phenomenal, well, then you win. So it's almost like don't hype your stuff up too much. Don't hype it up to the point where they think it should be God level and it's not. Because then their expectations might not meet it. That's why I always try to remind people that this is not perfect and there's rooms to grow so that they don't think that they're getting just the most amazing thing in the world and then for some reason they don't, even though these are very nice and it may be the most amazing thing they ever get. I don't know. That's not for me to decide. I just know as I make all of these, I'm like, there's always room to grow. There's always things that can be done. And I will continue to focus on those. I feel like I just cut that too small. I use these things on the bottom so that when I put them in the box, they don't slide around and the corners don't bump into the edges of the box. These ones fit perfect. I don't have to cut them, but the square ones I do because I can't buy them pre-cut like that. Hope some of you guys find this idea helpful. Not, I don't know that much. Again, I'm just speaking from what I've experienced so far, and it has only been a few months, and so I've only experienced a little bit. I could come back in a year from now and be like, yeah, none of that made any sense, and I shouldn't have said that, and it's all wrong. But I can't really imagine that to be true. I can't imagine creating a worse product is ever a good idea in any situation, really. You create a better product, and if it costs you more, then you sell it for more. And maybe you're running into problems in that. I don't know. Can't speak on it. I don't have that problem. Just sharing with you what worked for me. Here's another thing, these boxes. I would like to get better boxes. I think that's something I could improve on. I'd like to one day have custom branded boxes. They're very expensive. I guess that goes back to just charge more if it costs more, but I haven't been able to justify the price of new boxes just yet. I was going to at one point, but as the prints get bigger, the prices get ridiculous. And so you don't always want to waste money on that. There's other things too, just little packing scenarios and whatnot that could be solved. Anything, any little thing. Break down. What I have actually right now is a list in a notebook, and it's every little tiny problem that there could be, and I'm just trying to pick away at them one at a time, solving the biggest ones first, and working my way down the list. That's been incredibly beneficial because it gives you like a direction to work in. You just have every single little thing that could be done, and you sit down every day and you're like, all right, what's today? What is the thing that we could improve on to make this just 0.5% better? Some of them are to make them 10%, 20% better. Anything you can do will help. And it is the little things like these gloves where, okay, if you took it out of the box and you got a fingerprint on it, you may not like that. So I put the gloves in so someone can put the gloves on if they want, and they'll keep the fingerprints off. And we used to use not as nice gloves, but these were a little bit more expensive. They looked a lot nicer, and I thought, it's that 0.5% thing that matters. So we use these gloves now. And there will be a lot of other things that I will upgrade over time as well. Take the gloves on, then put them in the box. And I grab this paper, which I'm running out of. This just keeps it from sliding around inside the box, really just moving up and down. It's not gonna move side to side because of the cardboard I put in. That paper keeps it locked in place. Hope this video helped. This doesn't just apply to making these metal prints. This applies, I think, to probably anything in life. Do it better, focus on making it as good as possible, and you will benefit tremendously from that.